Greetings and welcome back. I am about to upgrade my world from 12.2 all the way to 1.14.3. I've been putting this off for quite a long time because I'm super afraid that stuff is going to be deleted, changed, removed in this world. And once I do this, MC Edit will no longer be usable. I do believe there might be a version that works with 1.14 now. I'm not even positive about that. But I will be super disappointed if I lose any fidelity with the upgrade here. Now, I have made an offline backup. I won't make you sit through this whole thing. Okay. The world is loading. So right off the bat, it looks okay. I have heard a lot of complaints about 1.14. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fly around. I'm just going to make sure everything is all intact. And we'll continue from here. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through the pond. And I'm putting kelp and seagrass down. Just sort of randomly. Not exactly randomly, but to take advantage. Whoa! That was neither kelp nor seagrass. There we go. And this is going to take advantage of some of the unique blocks introduced with 1.13. There's the saw in the wood workshop. That definitely looks a lot better. And we're going to put 2 item frames. And we're going to put some stripped wood up here. We'll put this one, this one. Because there was a lot of like boards and stuff in here. So I think it just makes it look okay. Now, I did want bamboo in this build because I think it looks good. As we did have these really thick weeds, but don't want it to grow so big. So what I'm going to try to do is put this in, but then put a barrier block over it. Now, honestly, I kind of wanted the leafy top to it as it grows. So, let's see. Come on, barrier block away. If that looks good mixed in. It does look good. Now, what happens if I'm coming through here? I hit a solid thing. Cool. And I also can use some of this in here because there were like these trees that I tried to make. I think it would look cooler with the bamboo, although actually they don't really look visible. But I would like to put some bamboo here. I've got the the grow thing set to 1,000 still. The bamboo looks perfect. Although I'm breaking all the other stuff. Let's put a couple bamboos in. It's actually going to be probably more trouble than it's worth to do it this way. Like a lot of this here should be bamboo. It's a bummer that it is insisting on growing that way. I'll think about the bamboo and how important it is to the build. Alright, now here is what I really wanted to fix in this version. So first off, this is the path leading over these two pipes, which are supposed to be metal. And in older versions of Minecraft, you could not have water flowing inside. Whoops. Oh, shoot. How do I get rid of that now? I didn't want it up on the ceiling of the pipe. That looks weird. Oh, nice. Okay. So, we can now have water inside the pipe, coming from both ends. I really like this color of the water. This is more what it looked like. It was not so blue. So I'm going to have to mess around with the biomes. But what I really wanted to do over here, there we go, is be able to go through the pipes. And you can do that with the new 1.14 and 1.13 swimming. Oh, but how do I can't place the boat. Oh no, I need to put the boat in there. That was like my whole... Okay, let's see if I could push one in. No. Oh, it's not going to work. Okay, so here's what I can do. I can just spawn one in here. Spawn or summon boat. Yeah, good. I wanted it to be a spruce boat, though. Are they named? Dark oak boat. Excuse me. Come on, swim. There we go. Swim in. Swim in. There we go. Oh! What happened here? The pipe broke. The pipe broke. Huh. Summon dark oak boat. Oh. Well. Nope, that doesn't work. Alright, let's just do summon boat. So these boats in these pipes represent rafts that my friends and I, one day we had a sleepover at somebody's house, and then we came out and ran around through this field. And when I say my friends and I actually mean not my neighborhood friends, but my elementary school friends. And we were just going around this field looking for trouble, and the water was low at the time, so we decided let's crawl through these pipes, and we found two rafts hidden inside the pipes. Now these rafts were made of a layer of wooden boards, like so. And then just fastened together. And then below the wooden boards, on the bottom, were a whole bunch of empty milk cartons with the boards on top. And the milk cartons were fastened onto the bottom, I don't exactly remember how, to make it float. And then on the top of the rafts, they put some spare carpeting, so it was like a nice soft cushion. And then they actually put there were seats that were ripped off of chairs, like the legs were ripped off, and there were seats on the boats. And so presumably some teenagers were boating around these creeks. And we took the rafts. I think there was probably 6 or 8 of us. We took the rafts back to my house in my backyard, and we got some additional flotation canisters that we affixed to the bottom, and we fixed them up a little bit, and we took the rafts out onto the pond, and they were really only good for one person at a time, but that was okay with us. But never before, never since in my life have we found actual seaworthy vessels out at this field. But it was really cool. Imagine, like, you know, you're like teenagers and you're out for some adventure and you find boats and you take and you improve them a bit and then you send them off on an adventure. It was really cool. I'll show you one more thing that I did. This is all thanks to Abe Brightmore and his magical, wonderful filters. So all of these weeds back here, look at all this. This was all done with filters from Abe Brightmore. And it saved me hours and hours and hours of time. I mean, this is perfect and gorgeous scenery back here. So what I did was, first thing I did was I used something called Jigarbov's block filter that Abe Brightmore made for Jigarbov. And what that did was allow me to replace the grass with a random smattering of different blocks like clay, slime, and things like that in a particular percentage weight that I desired. And then what I did was I ran another filter called the block swapper, which would actually say, okay, take yellow glass and replace it with the schematic of farmland with crop on top. And take a schematic that had, so replace lime wool with dirt, or grass, with a lower block of a fern and an upper block of double high plant. And same thing with double grass. This was, I think, slime block. And it allowed me to replace reeds and around water, so I don't have reeds randomly. So like all of these things would not really be easily doable with a simple block swap filter, because double high plants are particularly tricky when you're doing MC Edit, and crops are hard as well. But basically I was able to do all of this with just about 3 or 4 passes of filters, and I think it looks absolutely incredible, thick and luscious, as opposed to over here where I kind of did it by hand. I think it still looks okay, but somehow it doesn't look as thick, and possibly this is because of the coloring as well, but I just think it looks so perfect. And then the last thing that I did was over at the Park District building itself, so we'll head over there. Or actually, I used the same technique, I guess I should show you, all the way along the creek this way, and also used an Abe Brightmore filter called Forester to put the big oak trees up here by Shady Oaks. Now, I don't have the buildings in the park up there yet. That'll come eventually. But all of this is now just easily in place with filters. I think it looks great. It looks pretty natural, except the border of the biome. This is, I think, Seth Gling's set biome filter. And I kind of selected to rough rectangles. So I need to kind of smooth this out a bit at some point. That'll be one of my next things that I need to do. And down here at the part of the Park District, there were buildings up here. This is a major road. And then there was a metal bridge that went across this part of the creek here. And then up, and this will be the Park District potato lands. It's like park services, and then beyond it, houses. We'll talk about that much later. Over here, there was a rope hanging from a branch out over a tree. Now, somehow the scale of this creek and the map data is much wider than in my memory. But I don't really want to spend the time completely gutting that whole area. So I'm willing to live with a little bit of strange scale in a couple instances. And in this one in particular, there was a clay or a muddy ridge on either side of the bridge with a rope hanging from the tree branch up above. And in my memory, the trees on either side were enough to make a canopy over the river, so you were like hanging from this secluded area. And we used to basically just like swing out and then around and drop onto the thing. So used to swing like this. I remember one time I was here. It was a morning where, like, I think I had to go to church or something, but I was out on my bike earlier and I rode all the way over here. Like, our house is way back over there. I'm not sure. I rode over here. I think I was riding around the block, like this way, and then back around this way. I don't know. Anyway, I was here, and there was a bunch of kids here, including this one guy named Chris Garcia, who was here, and he was wearing a baseball shirt which had all these little holes in it. I don't know what you call it, but it was like an aerated shirt or something. And there was a whole bunch of kids, like maybe 4 or 5 kids standing around here, taking turns watching people swinging. And then I was over here, and I didn't want to get too close because I was in pretty good clothes. I knew if I got them dirty, I'd be in big trouble. So I was just watching. And I remember this kid, Chris, came up right about here, and he leaned out and was reaching for the rope. He was a little bit short. He couldn't quite reach it. And so, like, he would go up on his tiptoes to try to get the rope. And he grabbed the rope, and the rope, like, but he was leaning so far forward that he just fell, and then he, like, let go of the rope and then landed in the water like a belly flop. And when he got up and he climbed out onto the land, he was all full of mud and water, but and he took his shirt off, and his whole front and back were dotted where all the little holes in the shirt were. There were little flecks of mud like polka dots on his body. And then the rest of his body was fairly clean, but he was soaking wet, and then he ran home. I have no memory of how old I was in that story, but I just remember that happening.